Well, what a crazy year it's been for colds, flus, and COVID, and you name it. But there is a way to build your immunity to protect yourself and your family from getting run down by sickness. Our guest today is Dr. Clayton Koganow, who is a naturopathic doctor in Lethbridge and the owner of Well Vitality Health Clinic. He's also trained in conventional medicine with a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science Kinesiology and did 3 years of research on radiation and cancer at the University of Lethbridge. It's great to see you again, Dr. Coganow.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay. So it seems almost everyone you talk to these days in Southern Alberta has had more than their fair share of colds and flu this season, myself included in there, unfortunately. So naturally, people are looking for ways to build up their immune system to stay healthy, right? So, how has
Yeah.
it been for you at your clinic? Have you seen an increase in people struggling with health issues? What have you seen?
Well, I wouldn't say I see an increase. It definitely always increases around this time of year. It's pretty normal, maybe a little bit more influenza, a little bit more respiratory issues than the past few years. But I also feel like our bodies are just kind of building our immune system back up from kind of being away from everything the last couple years. So it does take a little bit of time to sort of reactivate things and get your immune system used to these things again. And so it's kind of to be expected.
Okay, yeah, interesting. It's interesting that, yeah, how we were almost like on a pause there for a while. And now we're getting back into it, and here we are. So, there's a lot of talk that vitamin D is a good immunity builder. I mean, I've always heard about vitamin C, but tell us a bit about vitamin D.
So vitamin D is quite it has many complex functions in the body. One of them is the immune system. And so its primary thing there is that it's activating cells in your body, immune cells in your body called T cells. And they're the cells that will recognize a virus or a bacteria. So when something comes into your body, it's those T cells that say, hey, there's something wrong. That sounds the alarm system. And it also activates another cell called a macrophage. And this cell, particularly, is a type of cell that will go and gobble up the virus or the bacteria and eat it and get rid of it in your body. So that's primarily its kind of role in the immune system is it's upregulating those immune cells. I mean, it also has a direct antimicrobial effect, so it decreases the ability for these things to replicate, et cetera, and it's an anti-inflammatory. So vitamin D is really, it's a very popular one. It's quite safe, when taken roughly within, the recommended dose. But what a lot of people don't realize is that it also plays a significant role in calcium absorption. So you don't want to take too much of it because it can actually create a situation where you can have too much calcium going into your body. And it also breaks bone apart to allow formation of stronger bones in a roundabout way. And so it has many roles in the immune system, but it's also something that you don't want to just take copious amounts of because it has multiple other functions in the body as well.
Oh, that's so interesting. I mean, I've usually attributed it to like a sunshine. Like if you don't get enough sunshine, vitamin D is a perfect one to take for that. But it's interesting to know that it does so many other things as well.
Yeah, and yeah, most people in Canada are quite deficient in it, and we can test vitamin D. I think it's important to test vitamin D and kind of monitor it to make sure that you aren't taking too much as well. A lot of people are just told a lot of times that, well, you're probably deficient because you're in Canada, and it's true, most of us are. But once you start taking it, then you also want to make sure you're not taking too much of it.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess it's true then that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
I know, yeah. For the most part, absolutely. Like there's a lot of things we can do to prevent. Sometimes you just get unlucky, I think, but I do think that there's a lot of things that you can do to help boost your immune system to prevent getting ill in the first place. Absolutely, there is.
Okay. Well, with that said, what are some other supplements that are known to help build immunity?
I mean, there's the ones that a lot of people have heard about, like echinacea, for example, and vitamin C. Those things are great at boosting immune system. Some others that maybe people haven't heard of that are more directly antiviral in nature would be like N-acetylcysteine. Quercetin is another one that actually doubles up as a great natural antihistamine for allergies as well. And then there's also another one that's fantastic is astragalus. It improves your white blood cell count. So it increases your defense, so to speak, against the viruses or bacteria that are in your body. There's so many that you can, try or list off. You don't want to get overwhelmed with taking too many things either.
Yeah, definitely. It can get a little bit, yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit much
a little
sometimes.
overwhelming.
Exactly. And then, of course, we've got some colds that are caused by bacteria, and then others are caused by a virus. So I understand that maybe there's some herbs that are antiviral in nature. So can you
Yes.
maybe explain how those work?
Yeah, so like certain herbs, like for example, like garlic. It's the active component of the garlic. It's called allicin, and that like just specifically will inhibit replication of a virus and even deactivate enzymes which allow it to work properly. So there's quite a bit of research on different supplements that can not only stop a virus but also slow things down so then your immune system can actually catch up and defeat the virus.
Wow, no, that's amazing. So,
Yeah,
how much of a role does stress or anxiety play when it comes to immunity?
it's probably one of the biggest things that I see in my practice is chronic stress and anxiety, which very much go hand in hand a lot of times, specifically to certain hormones that get depleted with these things, cortisol being one of the main ones. And this hormone in your body lowers in response to chronic stress. And initially, your body will be able to handle that. But when your body doesn't have these specific hormones, then you're much more susceptible to getting viruses or bacterial infections. Specifically, when the cortisol drops. Initially, when your stress is high, your cortisol rises, it goes up. And that actually can improve your immune system, improve your defense against viruses. So chronic stress, chronic depletion of this hormone cortisol will lead to a lowering of your immune system and an inability to handle or deal with stress, which can lead to anxiety.
Oh, terrible.
And
Uh,
so supporting that system is a massively essential thing at helping to prevent viruses and
right.
boosting your immune system.
Yeah. So, how can we support that then? What are some things that we can do to reduce that stress?
Well, it's difficult. Everybody's different. There's the obvious sort of answer is like, well, do things like exercise and yoga and meditation, etc. I try and tell my patients just to try and look at what's on their plate and take something off their plate if they can, because a lot of times life gets very busy and it's very difficult to just say, oh, go do this or go do that. Like you're putting something more on by doing that. So some people can do that and other people they can't. And so I think for people to kind of learn that like it's okay to review what you have on your plate and say no and be able to take things off your plate is a fantastic way to reduce your stress, manage the anxiety as well as doing things that help like exercise and yoga, meditation, etc. Those things.
Right. Definitely. What about a proper rest? I've heard that that could make a huge difference as well.
It goes hand in hand with stress, I mean, and rest. If you're resting more, sleep, for example, is a massive one that plays such an important role because it's such a massive stressor on your cortisol system that if you're not taking things off your plate, if you're not decreasing how much load you have on your body, then it's going to be very difficult to maintain a healthy immune system.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes when we're so stressed and anxiety ridden, it is hard to get proper rest. It's hard to sleep.
They're directly related. You actually need energy and energy systems to fall asleep. So for a lot of people, when they have insomnia or difficulty sleeping, they also have massive issues with their cortisol and their hormones and their energy and their immune system. And the only way to truly fix the sleep is by helping their energy systems, helping their immune system. And there are things directly, that can help benefit sleep, but you almost have to treat it from a dualistic manner. You have to treat both their energy systems to give them more energy in order to then fall asleep.
Yeah, I know. It's a complicated system. Do you recommend melatonin? I mean, I've heard some people say don't get dependent on it,
Yeah,
but
so I mean, melatonin, I find that melatonin, most patients that come into me have already tried melatonin because it's more well known, and so melatonin is just a hormone, secreted at sleep by a gland in in your brain called the pineal gland. And this is something that is more important for the circadian rhythm. So it's more important if you have like jet lag. And in those cases, it works amazingly well for most people. But what I find is that when people come in and most people, even if they haven't tried it, it's rarely the one that's really indicated. I find there's a lot of other sleep support supplements that we can try and even combine together that will help people with sleep more than melatonin.
okay. Yeah. Talk to your physician, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a pretty complex system, and unfortunately, it's one that we can't test.
That's too bad. Uh, Thinking of maybe what we're putting into our bodies here, are there certain types of foods that can help build our immune system? I mean, we've always heard that there is. And on the flip side, what would be the foods that would weaken immune system?
So the ones, I mean, yes, absolutely. There's, foods that are going to support the immune system. Anything with lots of color, fruits and vegetables with lots of color, berries full of antioxidants. They take pressure off of your system, off your body. Citrus fruits tend to be quite high in vitamin C, which boosts your immune system. So like oranges and kiwis, etc., things like that. Um, and then there's foods that produce a lot of stress on the body. So, like for example, alcohol, it puts a ton of stress on the liver. Decreases your ability to process and assimilate nutrients. Foods that are high in sugar are very inflammatory, so they put a lot of pressure on your body that way. Foods that are high in saturated or trans fats are also very difficult for your body to process, and they create a lot of oxidation. And so what your goal is with food is to take pressure off of your system, not to put more pressure on your system. And again, it comes down to stress. Stress isn't always, mental, emotional. Sometimes it can be physical as well. And in the case of food, that's exactly what it is. So, from my practice, I tend to also look at a lot of digestive tract stuff, gut health stuff, because what your goal is to try and take as much load off the body, as much stress off of the body in general, because it will all help.
So many things to think about when we're putting our bodies under stress here. There's so many factors that go into it. Now, I know that your clinic offers something fairly unique, this IV therapy to boost immunity. Can you maybe quickly explain how this works?
Sure. So there's different, so intravenous therapies. There's different ones that you can do. I would say the most common for boosting the immune system would be like an IV nutrient bag. So that would have like a higher dose vitamin C that you could take orally, and then B vitamins, magnesium, calcium, basically a multivitamin in there. Now, the benefit of the IV, because all these IVs, and people will tell you, like, well, they're water soluble, you'll just pee them out. And that's very true. They are water soluble, and absolutely you do that. But it's actually the difference between taking a supplement by mouth orally is that when you take it by mouth, it has to go through your digestive tract, which most people that I see have horrible digestive systems that we have to work on. So you lose absorbability there. So you're not absorbing everything. And then it goes into your bloodstream to your liver first. And then your liver will actually remove a lot of the vitamin that you took orally before it goes to all the cells of your body. So
Fascinating.
by the time you take a supplement orally, you're reducing your dosage, you're reducing the amount. Or in the case of, for example, vitamin C, you're unable to take a massive dose because you'll get irritable bowel from taking a high dose of vitamin C. So intravenous therapy is beneficial because it bypasses both of those systems. When you IV someone high dose vitamin C, it doesn't go through the digestive tract. We can give you a much higher dose and you absorb 100% of everything we give you. So every single cell of your body gets all of the vitamins and all of the minerals that you wouldn't have got just by taking an oral supplement. So what it does is it ramps up all those metabolic and cellular processes. And then your body says, okay, now we'll get rid of the rest. So it is true that you do eventually get rid of it, but it's how it's working in your body that's so massively stronger than just taking an oral supplement. So it is very beneficial.
That is really fascinating. I bet people just come out of there feeling like $1,000,000.
It's one of the best things we can do for our immune system and energy systems. Yeah.
So interesting. It's been so interesting as always talking to you, but we are out of time. So I thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. Dr. Clayton Koganow is a naturopathic doctor in Lethbridge with Well Vitality Health Clinic.